So, Yevgeniya,
Yeah,
here we
Yevgeniya.
are at the Hilton Metropole, who have kindly given us the corner of their restaurant for us to have this interview.
Yeah, we are very grateful.
So you've come here from Ukraine
Yeah.
under the Homes for Ukraine scheme, and we're going to talk a bit about life back in the Ukraine,
Yeah,
life here in London, what you've been up to,
yeah.
and
All the differences between the two countries.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, with pleasure.
So, what was your life like in Ukraine?
In Ukraine, it was pretty good before the war started, to be honest. So I had been running my own business for 3 years before the war started. So I was running the business in the kids events industry, and so I've got 2 kids. But the business was like my 3rd baby. I did love it. And over those 3 years, I hosted around 1,500 events in my venues and at our clients' locations. So I hosted around 50, 60 events a month. So yeah, like I did enjoy my life. And to be honest, I had never wanted to move country. My father has been living here for 15 years. He's a British citizen, but despite the fact that he has been living here, I never wanted to move. Mm-hmm. So, and only the war made me take this step, because I've got 2 kids. My kids are quite small.
And it was Dnipro you lived in, was it?
Yeah, Dnipro. So this is the eastern Ukraine, and the city is located within 200 kilometers, like 130 miles from the first front line.
Yeah.
So it has been occupied, but still
it's very dangerous.
Very dangerous for the kids to live there, and also both of them are school-aged. So I didn't want my kids to study and live in shelters, you know. So that is why the war started on the 24th of February, and I left Ukraine on the 2nd of March.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
very quick.
Very, very quick. I was lucky to be granted the visa to enter the UK on the 19th of February. Mm-hmm. So just 5 days before the war started. Yeah. So it was a very lucky coincidence, but that helped me leave Ukraine pretty quickly and move to the UK.
So was it just essentially you had like just an overriding feeling that you had to protect your children, you had to give your children a good life, and you just knew you needed to leave Ukraine?
Yeah, and also I'm as a business owner, as a project manager, as an event manager, I'm a very bad handler of uncertainties. Mm-hmm. I plan my day, I plan my month, I plan my year. So I live by the plans.
Yeah.
And when the war started, I understood that I can't predict what happens the next day. Mm-hmm. And it's quite hard when you've got 2 kids and you can't guarantee anything for them. So yeah, that's why I decided to. And my father, he lived here. Yeah. He offered his support very quickly. So that is why it was easy for us.
Is he here in London?
Yeah, he lives in London. Yeah, he lives in London. So it was quite easy for us. Unlike many other people, unfortunately, it was quite easy for us to cross the border on feet. So it took us three days to get to the UK.
Just because of the amount of people that were trying to get out?
The amount of people, yeah. So we took the 20-hour train to the Ukrainian border. And so the carriage of the train, which was designed to accommodate 36 people, was full, was packed. There were like 200 people. People were standing for 20 hours because there was no room to swing a cat, as you say here.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was no room at all. So people were standing for 20 hours with their dogs, cats, newborns, parrots. People slept in the carriage toilets.
Yeah.
So it was really
What is
horrible.
it? Freezing cold temperatures? It's like
Yeah, it was cold. The train was completely dark because because they were protecting the train from the missiles attacks.
Yeah.
So so it was completely dark, packed. The kids were crying. The adults were exhausted and frightened. So 20-hour. It took us 20 hours to get to Lviv.
Did you get the train into Poland?
No.
No.
So there were no trains between Ukraine and Poland at that time.
This is just to get to
Just to get to the western border.
Yeah.
Then we stood at the border for maybe 10 hours to cross the border because there were a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then we crossed the border, drove to Krakow, and then we took a plane to London.
Wow.
So we left Ukraine on the 2nd of March, and we arrived at the UK on the 4th.
Wow.
So
wow.
3-day journey.
Your dad waiting for you at the airport?
At the airport, and I was shattered by the end of the journey, because can you imagine that the difficulty is all about the fact that you didn't plan that. So when you plan your immigration, you've got your financial plans, property plans, life plans, language plans. So you prepare that in advance.
Yeah.
So in that case, we were forced to grab a couple of jumpers, 2 kids in my hands, and just go. So that's why.
I bet your dad had never been so pleased to see you when you landed.
He was really happy, and he provided us with a lot of support. And I would say that also I'm very grateful for the support that has been provided by the UK in general, because I think the country gave us so many rights and so many possibilities to settle in. As I know, we've been granted all the rights that the British people have, maybe except for voting.
Okay.
Access to NHS, access to public funds, the right to work, the right to rent. Kids went to school immediately.
Yeah.
So we arrived at the UK on the 4th of March. On the 14th of March, my kids went to school.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, the country has been really, really supportive.
And we'll get on to it, because you have been working, haven't you? You've started your own business, which we're going to talk about a little bit. And how have the kids settled in? Are they?
I would say it's they were stressed because they, at that point of their lives, they didn't speak English at all. And of course, when they went to school, they were stressed because new language, new people, new requirements. But they are sponges, right? Kids are sponges, so they picked it up pretty quickly. So, and now they've got British friends. They speak English with the poshest British accent ever. So my son is like, "Mom, look, your English is rubbish."
They're definitely going to have a good grasp of the language.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when they're small, because my kids are quite small. They're 7 and 8 years old. Whilst, as I know, to bring teenagers to a new country is more difficult because they have already settled their life in their countries. So it was quite challenging for example, 10 years olds, 12-year-olds to settle down here, to find new friends, to forget the life they had back in Ukraine. So that's why I was lucky enough to have small kids. And now they love living in the UK. They love their school. And
your business. So this was in Ukraine. This was your full-time job. you running your business? It was.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I worked in events, and in events you work 24/7
Yeah.
because, like, on weekdays you prepare your events, printing, organizing, booking, communicating, and at weekends you actually host them.
Yeah.
And plus, when you own the business, you think about that 24/7. Like there is, like now when I'm just an employee, at 5:30 I close my laptop, I blow an air kiss, and I'm free for the evening.
Yeah.
Whilst with your
You can actually have another life outside of.
outside of your work. Whilst when running your own business, you just keep questioning yourself: where is my next client? Where is my next order? Will I be able to pay salaries this month?
If I don't have enough parties
COVID
in
happened.
the pipeline.
What shall I do?
Yeah.
You are being stressed all the time. So but it's like a drug injection when you run a successful event and people tell you that was the best party ever, and you get recommendations and referrals, and that gives you wings that your employment would never be able to do.
Yeah. So the war starts, your life is turned upside down. Within a week or two, you are in the UK.
Yeah.
So what was it like when you first got here? I think you said you didn't speak any English or not much English?
Like the last time I learned English was when I was 16. So basically I knew at that point of time, I knew that the war would be long and exhausting.
Yeah.
That is why I started looking for a job immediately.
Right.
I decided that I would stay in the UK for the upcoming 2 years, 3 years. So I got that understanding. So that's why.
Even with very little English, you started looking straight away.
At that point of time, so my English was pretty good for Ukraine.
Yeah.
And at that point of time, it was enough for me to go and buy a dress, or to communicate my kids' school settling in, etc. I just didn't realize it wasn't really enough. I was pretty sure that I'm okay. Like, I speak English, and it's enough.
I mean, when we were talking before, you were quite conscious that you think your English is not good, but I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, thank you. I appreciate that. So first of all, I understand that I speak with an Eastern European accent, but now I have been living. I have been working for the UK-based company for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
So being in the environment helps you a lot to pick it up.
Yeah.
And I started looking for a job, and actually I got my first offer in April 2022, just maybe 4 or 5
after a month
weeks
or so.
after I started looking for a job. And I started that in May 2022. And when I started the job, on my first day, I realized that I don't understand 50-60% of what I was told.
Yeah.
Because I found a job in pharmaceutical communications. So basically, there were
pharmaceutical communications. Okay,
Just to give you some context and background, I've never done anything like that. I don't have a chemistry background or any sort of scientific background. So my higher education was in economy and enterprise.
Yeah.
So and now it's pharmaceutical communications.
So if you're just kind of scraping by on your English, and you come to the UK, I mean, why not go straight into pharmaceutical communications?
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah. Let's take the risk, right? I was really lucky to find the job with my level of English, and I understand that. So I had to learn 3 new vocabularies,
Yeah.
like pharmaceutical vocabulary, means like ABPI code or HCPs, which means healthcare professionals, trials, compounds, stuff like that, and also business English, and also marketing English, and also lots of jargonism, slang, like something like legwork, or we've got a bigger fish to fry. What does it mean? Like, can you please?
Raining cats and dogs.
Raining cats and dogs, when pigs fly, and I also have colleagues from different countries, and from Ireland, for example.
Yeah.
So I also had to get used to different accents.
Yeah, nobody can understand them, so don't worry.
Okay, yeah, thank you. But so I found a job in May 2022. It got easier for me in November. So after maybe 5 or 6 months. Over those months, after I ended my workday, I was either sleeping or crying. Crying because it's not easy, and it's still, to be honest, it still hurts, and I think for the rest of my life I will start crying when recalling that period of time, because I used to be a company director, I used to manage a team of 10 people. I lived in my own house, I drove my own car, I used to have fresh manicure every week.
Yeah.
You've got certain level of income, you've got a certain level of status, right? And then you become a 2-year-old. You can't convey your thoughts, you can't deliver your messages, you can't express your opinion, and it makes you feel vulnerable. It makes you feel like you'll never be at that point of your life again.
It makes you realise, doesn't it, how easily your whole life can be switched upside down.
Yes,
I think,
and also how important your language is. To speak your native language, to be able to deliver the smallest details of your thoughts, of your ideas, is so important. So
I think if you're British, war, it's like something that's on TV. It feels it's so far away.
Yeah.
And
so I think we arrived in the UK, and the next time we went to the pub, and I was still a bit traumatized by what I saw in Ukraine, by all the news and the situation in general.
Yeah.
And I saw the people who were drinking and smiling and talking to their friends, playing board games. And I just, at that point of time, I just wanted to scream, do you know what's happening in Ukraine? How can you do all the things here if, when we struggle, when we are devastated, when we are frightened, when we try to protect our kids from the missiles attacks. It was I didn't understand that at that point of time. But when you the more I live here, the more I understand that this is something that is happening on the other side of Europe, and people have their own lives. And that's sad, but this is how the world works.
So you've been here for 2 years, almost.
Almost 2 years.
In a couple of months' time. So how's life been in the UK, in London? Separate to work and what you've been doing there. How's London life been? You've been dating.
Well, first of all, I must admit that London has stolen my heart. For sure. I love the city. And so it's not the first time I'm in London. You can imagine, my father lives here, so I visited London for 6 or 7 times over the last 10 years, but I've never lived here as a resident. So I went to see Buckingham Palace or Big Ben or stuff like that, all these, tourist attractions.
Yeah.
But I've never lived here as a resident, and I must admit that this is one of the best cities in the world. The amount of opportunities you can get here is just incredible. And I think people here do not realize how privileged they are to live in the city. You take it for granted.
100%.
Yeah, you take it for granted.
I do the same.
And you keep venting that the life here is so expensive. The city is very noisy. It's packed.
Rains.
It's
grey. It's cold.
Yeah, and all those immigrants, etc., etc. But the fact is that this is one of the best cities in the world, and you can feel, see, engage, and experience so many things here that it would be really impossible to do so in in the majority of the world.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do love London. I moved in March 2022. So basically, I moved still being married.
Yeah.
So I left my husband.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In Ukraine, and then it's really tough when you realize you can't be a couple anymore.
Yeah.
Because you start living completely different lives.
Mm-hmm.
You have different schedules, you have different issues, problems, everyday routine,
Yeah.
and long distance, having a long distance relationship after being married for 10 years. I think ruined our marriage.
10 years you were married.
Yeah, 10 years. So in Ukraine we step into marriage quite early. So I got married when I was 24. And my kids were born 1 year later and 2 years later. So then we separated because we understood we can't be a couple anymore, which is fair enough. And so I started dating in January, maybe 8 months later, because I was so, focused on my job and finding a place to live.
Yeah.
Which is a separate discussion because I think everyone knows how hard it is to find a property to rent in London, especially for us. And I was forced to pay 12-month payment upfront. So basically to pay for the rent, to pay for the whole year upfront to get the property, because there are 30, 40 candidates for every place. And to win the competition, you must offer something really, really outstanding, something really, really strong.
It's crazy, isn't it? You think, it's so expensive in London. And so when I moved out of my last place, because I thought, where I am, it's too expensive, we're being ripped off, and we put it on the market, and within 48 hours, there was 50 people that wanted to come to view it. Yeah. And the next day it was gone.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So, I think people start getting back to the UK, to London after the pandemic. So and the market is really, really hot. So we had to pay this payment upfront. So I was focused on my job, on my, language issues, on my kids, on the property hunt, and I started dating in January 2023. And to be honest, the first time I was really shocked. I don't know, I was astonished. I was I don't know what is the right word for that. But because dating here, I know London is slightly different, I was told that. But, sorry.
That's right.
Yeah, that's mine. Okay, where did I? So, I was told that dating in London is slightly different from dating in the UK in general. But so I had to learn, again, so many new words, ethical non-monogamy or friends with benefits.
So friends with benefits is not a thing in...
Not a thing in Ukraine. It's so different in Ukraine because here you can date multiple people, and those people would date multiple people as well.
Yeah.
And everyone knows that. this is why it's called ethical non-monogamy, like, right? Yes, so like, it's all about ethics. You know that I date other people, right? Are you okay with that? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine. So, and everyone is okay with that, which is, I don't judge anyone, but it's quite an unusual thing.
It's quite difficult to adjust to, or if you want to adjust. I mean,
not everyone will agree with me, but like, are you okay to share and to be shared? Like, yeah, it's a bit like, it may sound judgmental, but ultimately it's all about, like, you know, sharing the people that you date. Like, well, it's not for me. Again, I don't judge anyone. Yeah, so ethical non-monogamy, friends with benefits, exclusivity, again, right? So, and there are so many stages of the relationship here in the UK, because in Ukraine, so stages. That's all about stages, right? So in Ukraine, if you go on 3 or 4 dates, okay, you are already in a relationship. You are already a girlfriend and a boyfriend. Whilst here in the UK, okay, let us, you know, one by one, step by step, you start talking. Okay, you start talking. This is the first step. Then you go on dates and you start dating, right? Then you start, when you think you like each other, you start seeing each other. Okay? Yeah. Then if it goes well and progresses further, you might have something called an exclusivity talk. So only after those 3 stages, you can ask a question. Can we see each other exclusively?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you please not date other people? Okay. So the talk, for example, is successful. Then you continue seeing each other, right? But exclusively now. You're not in a relationship. No. We're not talking about that right now. But it's just the commitment that, okay, we're not going to go on dates with other people, but it's not quite a proper. Okay. And basically, for London, it's quite a big commitment. And to be honest, from my personal experience, sometimes it leaves you heartbroken because you think they like you. And you think you like them back, but you have this talk about exclusivity and stuff, and they're not ready to stop seeing other people. They tell you, yeah, I like you, let's keep things the way they are. But I'm not ready for any commitments, I'm not ready for a relationship. And when you're not used to that, it leaves you heartbroken. It's hard, you know, and if you're not used to that, the only thing for you to do is to leave, right? But it feels unfair, and it makes you feel like unimportant, unworthy, not enough, not being enough to satisfy their needs. Like, why do you need other people?
It's like when you think about dating apps and things. In one respect, it's really good because you'll meet people who you would never meet otherwise,
and it's easy for you to meet them.
To meet people. But at the same time, it sort of drives a kind of there's always more out there mentality.
Yeah, and the grass is always greener somewhere else, and it's so easy to break up, get back on apps, and start swiping again.
Yeah.
And the stack never ends. So basically, it leaves you with the impression that you will always find someone else, and you don't really make an effort to build something more interesting, something deeper, something meaningful.
It's like if you have a proper relationship, part of that is going through difficult times together, going through the good times and the bad times. And with dating apps, and especially I think in London, you know, where there's 10 million people, it's just
10
like an
million
endless
people.
supply of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is always that. Okay, as soon as this isn't perfect,
Yeah.
the next one could be perfect.
Could be perfect.
And then the next one, and the next one, and actually it never ends.
It never ends. Yeah, and basically, is it really helpful? Because I think it reduces your ability to actually build a proper relationship, right? Because
Yeah.
when you face new challenges, when you face new issues, when you face like uneasy conversations, you don't go into that.
Yeah.
You just say like, I'm not really into troubles. Don't you know, you're a drama queen. I don't like dramas, and yeah, basically goodbye.
Yeah.
So yeah, then you start seeing each other exclusively, and then if it goes okay, then you may have this, you know, another conversation about an official relationship, being a girlfriend and a boyfriend, introducing your match, your date to the general public.
Yeah.
But it happens after like 3, 6, 8 months of talking and seeing each other and dating and
So you prefer the Ukrainian way?
the Ukrainian way. You know, yeah, probably. I don't think that things should be rushed. I don't think so. But the idea of the ethical monogamy, non-monogamy,
Yeah.
leaves me very, like, you know, not curious, but yeah, but shocked.
Yeah. Disappointed.
And disappointed, yeah, because yeah, again, the idea of sharing is quite, you know, quite unpleasant to me. Seems quite unpleasant to me. So yeah, dating in London can be hard. I did have a 8-month relationship here in London, and probably they weren't ready to commit. And yes, it like did leave me heartbroken and like questioning myself whether I've done something wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is, you know, lessons learned, and it's just another life experience.
Yeah. It's part of the life of living in the melting pot that is London.
Yeah, for sure. So there are pros, like, yeah, I've been to, for example, I've been to Wimbledon, I've been to West End musicals, I've been to multiple beautiful places, like, you know, gardens, parks, castles, but there are also a few cons.
So, you've been working almost since, you know, the month that you came here.
Yeah.
But next
Working,
week,
struggling.
Next week,
learning English.
You're giving up your job. Next week, is it 1 week? Did you say?
Yeah, just 1
In
week.
1 week, you're giving up your job.
Yeah.
So, what are you going to be doing in a week's time? What you have been doing, but now you're going full time.
So I've been working in pharmaceutical communications, but as you might remember, I used to have a business in kids events.
Yeah.
And as you may guess, pharmaceutical communications, which are hugely restricted and regulated, and kids events, which are built on fantasy and creativity and freedom to create, to think, to come up with different ideas, they are so different.
Yeah.
And so yeah, when you move country, when you're anxious and nervous and not confident, and I was really lucky to get this job. I know that a lot of Ukrainians work in cleaning, in catering, you know, works like that, which do not require like high level of English. So I understand that I was lucky to get the job. But when I've been living here for 2 years, like, you know, so I can speak maybe slightly better English.
Your English is fantastic. You've got no problems.
Thank you. And and you start thinking like, when you used to own your life, you just want to get back to the feeling when you are free and when you are confident and when you are able to take the risk and basically just get back to the person you used to be. And it's really important to find yourself again, because when you move country without proper level of language, it seems like you lost yourself and you will never ever be able to rebuild your personality, your social circle, your social status, your income and your life. So
you've been working, say to find your feet, but now you're going to be doing your business again full time here. So tell people about your business, because I've seen your business in action and it's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm very, very passionate about my business, and I've been told that my eyes, lighten up when I start talking about that. So basically, I would say that the event industry in UK, especially related to kids, is much more developed in Ukraine than in the UK. It may sound a bit controversial, and I appreciate that, but we've got so many offers that are not presented here in the UK. So, for example, and I know that everyone who has got kids, they will understand me. So I've been to multiple kids' parties here before I decided to start my business.
Yeah.
And I know that the level of entertainers' costumes is not that high.
Yeah.
Okay. And the games that are played at kids' parties are always the same.
Yeah.
So you can host a Harry Potter party, or you can host a Minecraft party, or you can host a Paw Patrol party. But the games would be just the same. So it's musical statues, pass the parcel game, the parachute game, and maybe a few more. But they are always the same. Whilst in Ukraine, we've got a themed story, themed games for every program we've got.
Yeah.
So the program and the story and the context of a Paw Patrol party would be completely different from what the kids would be doing at the Minecraft party.
Yeah.
So that is why I decided to try it here. Or, for example, the bubble show.
Yeah.
I know there are a few good professionals here in the UK, but for example, my daughter is almost 9, and I asked her friends whether they have seen the bubble show before. All of them are 9.
Yeah.
And they have never ever seen the show before.
Yeah.
Because it's
I have to admit, I'm sitting here thinking, what is the bubble show? But
yeah, basically, I mean, some people have heard about that.
Yeah.
But this is a 30-minute show when the host presents a lot of bubbles, starting from small and finishing with like a giant bubble. And you can you can travel into the giant bubble, and there are bubbles with smoke, there are soap bubbles, etc., etc. So by the age of 5, an average Ukrainian child would see the bubble show at least 10, 15 times.
Oh,
it's
wow.
everywhere. It's so popular because kids love bubbles.
Yeah.
They're magical, and it's really interesting to pop them. So, and it's not that common. It's not that popular here in the UK. Again, the paper disco, and I think you saw that.
I saw that.
This is a completely new thing.
Yeah.
And I think
There's
maybe
kids just everywhere, just buried in.
maybe I could
tinsel,
share.
Is it? Or just
They just throw it, and then they jump into that, and then we can organize.
Screaming going on.
Screaming, and I've already hosted around 10 or 12 paper discos here in the UK, and it's always mind-blowing
And was there a Harry Potter one, was it, that you did? Or it looks like wizards or something I saw?
Yeah, again, so I think I can share a few videos with you, you know, and we can
We'll
also
put them on,
put them on. So with the Harry Potter party, so I hosted the party for 36 kids. There were 7 themed games. For example, put a hippogriff on a chain, or a broom race, or their transfiguration class, like guess who's been turned into a hat, or how well you know the castle's map. So they put together their Marauders map, and the activities were so new, so interesting, so engaging that there were 36 kids at the party, and 30 of them told the birthday girl that that was the best party ever.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, and she was really happy about that.
Yeah.
And
must make it all worthwhile when the kids are saying that.
She was a star, yeah, right? She was the star of the party, and it's really important for us. It's really important to immerse the kids into the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. You know, the fairy tale, the story should come true at the party. They should believe that they have arrived at Hogwarts.
Yeah.
You know, that they are witches and wizards.
I think, like, when I saw the video of the Hogwarts party, I think that was the thing that struck me the most, was just like how immersive it is. It's not like there's a little thing here or there. It's like, from the kids' perspective, everywhere they're looking around, it's Hogwarts.
It's Hogwarts, yeah, and it was really easy for them to believe in that. And like, I know it's so important to be famous, you know, to put out the word about you here in the UK, and everything is based on referrals, basically. But I've had already a few inquiries from British parents.
Yeah.
So
is it mostly Ukrainian parents that you've been doing it for up until now?
Up until now, but we need to understand that these kids have been living here for 2 years as well, right? So they started speaking English, and they invited their British friends to their parties, right? So it's not only Ukrainian kids. Our kids, unfortunately, so there are two sides of that, right? So they are losing their Ukrainian background.
Yeah.
So, for example, right now, my son speaks English better than Ukrainian. So
does he remember much from Ukraine? Yeah.
So we moved when he was 5, and he's turning 8 this year.
It's a tragedy, isn't it?
It's tragedy.
There's lots of opportunities, but it's a tragedy at the same time.
Yes. So these kids have started speaking English, and they have got British friends, and of course they invite them to their parties. Yeah. So, and it was easy for me to start because it was easy for the Ukrainian parents to communicate with me. Yeah. But right now, more and more British kids attend my parties, and more parents can see what I can do. And I've got.
So you've been working full time. You've been organising the parties in the evenings and buying everything and sorting out everything that you need, and essentially hosting the parties at the weekends. Yeah. So now you're going to be able to do this full time. Yeah.
So I had a few conversations with people who told me, what's the problem? Like, work full time because it guarantees you some level of stable income, right? So work full time Monday, Friday. Anyway, the majority of people have their parties at weekends.
What's the problem? Like 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. What's the problem?
What's the problem? Like, it's easy to manage. But I think everyone who's ever run their own business know that, again, you work 24/7. Yeah. And you need to put all the energy you have, all the passion you have, all the time you have to make it work, especially when you're starting off in a new country. Yeah. So basically, whilst at home you feel safer and more comfortable and more confident, here you need to sort out every detail. Like,
Yeah.
like for example, I don't have a car here because I had to sell my car in Ukraine to pay that 12-month payment up front. So I don't have a car here. I had to register myself as self-employed. Again, you know, there is a process here. I need to book a zip car every time I organize a party. Again, there is a separate process here. I need to organize my...
It's incredible what you've achieved, isn't it? You think, you know, just 2 years ago, you're living your life, running your business in Ukraine. You've come all the way here, a country you don't know, a language that you kind of know a little bit.
You think you know.
You think you know. But your entrepreneurial spirit is coming through. You're going back to your modus operandi. That this is what you were born to be. Is running your own business, in charge of your own destiny.
You know, I'm a perfectionist. And again, there are pros and cons of that. But for me, it's never enough. Like everyone who shares this flaw, I would say, they know that it's never enough for you. And it's good because it constantly pushes you forward. But it's also bad because you are never ever satisfied with yourself. And yeah, when you're a perfectionist and when it's not enough, you are just, I shall try. And I can do better. I can achieve more. And maybe I'll fail.
I think that perfectionist streak comes through in the party that I saw that you hosted and the videos that I've seen as well. They look good. And do you have a website or email address, or we'll put it in the video somewhere? So people can reach
I've got
out.
an Instagram page, an Instagram account. So my Instagram, my business in Ukraine is called Kid City. And my Instagram page in Ukraine is called kidcity.dp because DP is my city, right, Dnipro. So here it's now kidcity.uk. And I'm currently transferring my website to their UK domain, and it's now kidcityparties.co.uk.
Awesome.
So I'm like moving forward.
Excellent. What are your hopes for the future?
My hope for the future. I don't know. I want to feel the freedom again. You know, the freedom of living your own life. I want to feel the freedom of speaking the language confidently and without translating every sentence in my head.
You're still thinking Ukrainian.
Still thinking in Ukrainian, still dreaming in Ukrainian, you know, still speaking Ukrainian at home. But I know that the British society is so class, you know, and you can tell about the person you are talking to a lot just based on their language, based on their like pronunciation and stuff.
The accents,
etc. So I've got the British pronunciation course waiting for me to start with that. So I will start that in February when I've got more time. So I just want to, it's not like I want to lose my, you know, personality or the story behind me. I just want to feel comfortable at this stage of my life. And
but it doesn't look like the war is going to end anytime soon.
And I think it will be hard to rebuild the country, and this process will last for another 20, 30 years. And I think I don't want my kids to grow in the post-war country. And again,
do you think that, to put it bluntly, their opportunities are going to be better here?
Yes, let's be honest, right? Let's be honest, the opportunities are better here. We never wanted that to happen. But let's face it, life happens, things happen, and all you can do is to adjust to the new chapter of your life. You know, wake up and tell yourself that impossible is nothing, it just requires more time. This is what I
think that's
believe in.
Perfect note to finish it on. So thank you for doing this interview.
Thank
I
you
really
very
appreciate
much.
it.
Thank you.
And cheers to life.
It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Incredible.
Yeah.